Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you are not new here, if you're new here, welcome. Please do me a favor and subscribe so that you don't miss any of my new posts. Let's get into the video. I want to start this video off by stating that I have not been a Tyler Perry fan actively for quite some time. While I do enjoy his older work, I have not gone out of my way to watch any of his new shows, new movies, anything of that sort. However, because of the clips I saw of Beauty in Black on social media, specifically TikTok, I had to check it out. And when I tell you that I quickly became addicted to this show, it is not an exaggeration by any means. I genuinely was locked in religiously into watching this. I don't want to focus on the show as a whole, however, as much as I want to touch on a specific key to the show's premise. For those of you that haven't seen the show, some info shared here will of course be spoilers, so use your discretion. For background, Kimmie is a trafficking victim and sex worker in a hopeless, inescapable situation because at every interval of what could be an escape for she and her friends, all authoritative parties are complicit instruments in their situation. Judges, police, and even fellow victims are self-concerned and at high levels sadistic. Still, Kimmie manages to have some optimism despite discouragement from her fellow trafficking victim and long-term friend Rain. Her other close friend Angel also believes in a possibility out of their bleak lives, but leans toward more violent or high-risk plans. Kimmie is the only one that sees a traditional, respectable path forward for herself and by proxy, her friends. Kimmie's magnetism increases more as her lifestyle endangers the people she loves, while she herself leans more into the submissive side, often being pushed around by her handlers such as the strip club managers and her pimp Jules. It is once Rain is encouraged to undergo a risky procedure that could turn fatal and her underage sister is used as collateral to keep Kimmie in line. She transcends the laws of her reality. She does this without having to use her body, most likely because the universe was already aware of her distaste for the work she was forced into, where her body was transformed into a prison for sex labor. It's also important to note that during her high periods of transcendence, she is also above legal pitfalls that would handicap an irrational individual, i.e., always evading the police, capturers, or consequences of her actions before they can impact her new reality negatively. When Kimmie shows up to Mallory Bellarie's event, hoping to receive a scholarship and therefore a chance at a new life, she has no logical reason to believe that's possible. She's not attending school, nor does she have any connection to the CEO of Beauty in Black. And it was unlikely her traffickers would even allow her to make use of the scholarship if she did receive it. None of this mattered to her, however, which is why the solution to her problems walked right into her life. The most homophobic person on the show needed her, of all people, to serve as a wingman for her friend Angel, of all people. Obviously, Rain fits into this transcendence as well, but only sacrificially. Her choice to modify her body in the hopes of working her way out of the club was a more mutable goal than Kimmie's, despite being more realistic. But that's just the point. Your dream life isn't meant to fit realistic parameters, otherwise it wouldn't really be a dream. I feel this is also why not only was her mortality used as a fuel for Kimmie to shed blood, but let's consider the utility of her new body as well. Rain herself described it as looking like death when her clothes were off. Had Kimmie not managed to manifest a new life large enough for the both of them, Rain would be forced to contend with the issue of being a sex worker without the sex appeal of a healthy body, which would have increased the possibility of her seeming useless to the people in charge. They were not in a lifestyle where uselessness was acceptable. And that isn't even with considering the fact that had Kimmie not manifested a new life, Rain possibly would have passed away in the hospital because, let's face it, she was not receiving the care that she needed prior to Mr. Bellarie's intervention and was even being made fun of by the staff at the previous hospital. How did Kimmie manage to manifest this impossible life? Well, there are a few ways that I believe she did it. For one, her relentless optimism. She kind of already had nothing to lose, which I think is kind of the best place for a true dreamer to be in, because you're not as bogged down by what the possibility of rejection or a loss could do to you when you have nothing to lose. The other thing that I think that helped benefit her so much is the fact that when she was on the warpath to avenge Rain and to retrieve her sister, she at no point thought of herself as capturable by the law. Her only goal was to get to where she needed to go. So she never took a moment to think of the police capturing her or anybody stopping her. And it was actually Angel that kind of had to remind her, hey, we still need cars. We still need utilities. So had an abundant mindset, because as you have to recall, when Mr. Bellarie was explaining to her that he was on a fixed income and was fronting as if he wasn't worth hundreds of millions of dollars, she didn't try to swindle him. She didn't allow her situation to make her desperate. She still treated him as an individual with respect and with dignity. All of this, in addition, of course, to the bloodshed of her enemies, was a perfect cocktail for the universal lottery. There was no one in the world that could blame her if she was desperate and hopeless, yet she was still above that, and it served her to be delusional and hopeful in the end. If you made it this far, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Till next time.